to the moment that we've all been waiting for. I got an opportunity to speak with Rick a little bit earlier today, and really just an amazing man in a short period of time that we got an opportunity to converse. But I think you will be thoroughly impressed with what he brings to the table, and I'm just going to shut up so that so you can hear him talk. So, with that said, Rick Davidson has been in the real estate industry since 1988. And in February 2010, he was appointed president and CEO of Century 21, the world's largest residential real estate sales organization. He leads more than 102,000 sales professionals who operate in 75 countries and territories worldwide. Prior to his appointment, Rick served in the same capacity as president and CEO of Coldwell Banker. His roots, though are a small business owner, like many of those in this room. He's passionate about improving people's lives, and he exemplifies this with his daily actions. In 2006, Rick organized his first Climb for Kids' Sake and has since coordinated fundraising climbs of I'm going to mess these up, that's okay. I'm not a big climber, you might be able to tell that. But Mount Elbrus in Russia, volcanoes in Alaska and Mexico, Mount Hood in Oregon, and Mount Adams in Washington, where he has raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for the groups he supports. Another sign of his passion for the outdoors is, after graciously accepting our offer to be here today, and you've already heard this, Rick and his daughter came out a little early and were able to climb Mount Hood, I think for his third time summiting, Mount Rainier, my fault. So, without any further ado, please help me in welcoming to Salem, Rick Davidson.
Thank you, Brian. Good afternoon, everyone. Great to be here with all of you. I think they're going to move this podium out of the way. I picked a spectacular week to come to the Pacific Northwest, did I not? My daughter, Mandy, would like to take the credit for bringing the weather. We had a terrific climb. We got in on Wednesday. We drove up to Ashford on Thursday. We climbed up to Camp Muir on Thursday afternoon. We went for the summit on Friday and made the summit. Came back down on Friday evening and back off the mountain on Saturday. But I was talking to Ryan before the event got started, just talking about sometimes what it takes in order to really make the decision that you're going to move forward to achieve whatever the objective is. And the reason that I say that is, mountain climbing, there's a lot of correlation between the boardroom and your rope team. The reality is that mountain climbing, while physically you have to prepare and you have to mentally prepare, at the end of the day, your ability to be able to achieve the summit is solely based upon the performance of the entire team. If one member of the team fails, the entire team fails. So my daughter gets, we're pretty close to the top, probably around 13,500 feet. And she's having a tough time. And the guy who's leading us, a good friend of mine, and I've climbed many mountains with, he says, Mandy, I need to know that you've got what it takes in order to move through this next section because it's very dangerous. We were climbing under some very large house-sized seracs that, if they shear off, you're in deep trouble. So Mandy assured him she was ready. She said, I didn't come all this way in order to give up this close to the top. I want to keep going, as tired as she was. So we moved on through, and then we get up to what's called high break. High break is basically the last break that you're taking before you get to the summit. It was about 50 more minutes to get to the summit. So after high break, we get 35 steps out of high break, and she says, I'm done. And I looked up to Craig and yelled to him. He was first on the rope. I was last on the rope. She was in the middle. And he turned around and looked back, and I said, it's over, right? Because assessment and understanding when it's over, you need to have those difficult conversations with people because safety is key. But Craig wasn't ready to accept that. In fact, he turned around and came down and said, Mandy, let me tell you something. I have never, ever once turned around except for the reason of weather once we got to high break. You have what it takes in order to achieve the summit. You just have to reach deep down inside of yourself and find that. And he convinced her to keep moving forward, and an hour later, we touched the summit rim. And the reason that, Brian and I were talking about that, why that's important is, as business owners, as executives, as community leaders, we all find ourselves in that place at some point in our careers. We all find ourselves to a point of where we're saying, you know what, I just can't do it. The balance sheet doesn't look good. I've got a tremendous amount of debt. My sales are down. Things just look grim. The economy's not functioning well. And there's lots of reasons to pull the plug and to give up. And that's when each of us has to really reach down deep inside of ourselves and say, you know, that's not what it's all about. That's not why I got into this. That's certainly not what the people around me who are counting on me are expecting me to do. So part of what we're going to talk today about is having the right mental attitude to achieve what we want to achieve as executives, as community leaders, as business owners, as managers, as people who just want to do more for themselves. Today, we're living in a rapidly evolving marketplace and global economy. And as business owners, as leaders, we have to remain nimble enough to be able to move at the speed of the market and at the new speed of our customers. We've got to understand and anticipate this evolution and this change in the market and our business and our customer base. If not, our market position will diminish. And in this very fast-paced marketplace that we are operating in, we run the risk of being disrupted or disintermediated. I can assure you that in the real estate business, there's been a tremendous amount of conversation about the disintermediation of the real estate agent from the business. You have Zillow and Trulia and Homes and Home Finder and Realtor.com and all these other websites where the consumer starts at the top of the funnel to begin to look for real estate. But we have to remain relevant in the hearts and the minds of the consumer in order to ensure that we're not disrupted and disintermediated. Wayne Gretzky, arguably the greatest hockey player to ever play the game, when he asked why he was so great, his answer was pretty simple. He said, I skated to where the puck was going to be. In other words, he placed himself in the path of play, in the path of this changing marketplace. And that's exactly what each of us need to do as business leaders. We need to position ourselves in the path of a rapidly evolving market. So as executives, as managers, have you aligned with this change? Are you preparing your business for the level of change that is occurring today? I love the idea of this meeting because meetings like these, more than any other, are really where new ideas are born. Best practices are shared. Connections are made. Strategies can be brought home and used to architect the future of your business. And I want to thank Jason and the Salem Area Chamber of Commerce. I want to thank my good friend Kurt Arthur with Sperry Van Ness for asking me to come here to speak. Kurt called me 9 months ago because he knows I have a pretty whacked out schedule when I have to travel around to all these different countries and across the United States. But 9 months ago, I locked this into my calendar, and I'm really excited to be here. Kurt and I got to spend the day yesterday out on the Columbia River. We did a little bit of salmon fishing, got a nice tan. It was great. And I actually caught a fish, and we had it for dinner last night. It was terrific. So I want to thank you for allowing me to be here and to just have a conversation today, because this is really what it's all about. It's about thinking through where we are in our business today and making sure that we're aligned with where we want our business to be tomorrow. So we're gathered here this afternoon because we want to grow, we want to innovate, and we want to continue to pursue excellence. And the Vision Initiative event, as many of you know, is open to the community, to business leaders. But invariably, it's a very select group of people that choose to come here. By its very nature, this event draws the leaders, the doers, the visionaries, the very best among the business community here in Salem. I think it was Henry Ford who said, give me 100 people who think that anything is possible, and I'll change the world. Well, we have somewhere between 250 to 300 people here in this room today, and the possibilities of what each of us can learn, what we can change, and what we can innovate are endless. Every aspect of our economy today is in a rapid state of evolution. Would you agree with that? How about a show of hands? How many believe that our economy today is in a rapid state of evolution? I see a lot of people shaking their heads. Okay, A lot of hands. If your business has not been affected by this evolutionary process, it's certainly a matter of time before it does, and I guarantee you it's a much shorter time horizon than you might expect. So today, how are you thinking about your business? Whether you're a B2B or a B2C, how have your customers' expectations changed? How do new customers find you? How do they measure your capabilities? And as such, the likelihood of whether or not they're going to do business with you. We were out with this fishing guide yesterday. He wasn't the most sophisticated guy, but I got to tell you, he was asking us to rate him on Yelp and Google. This is one smart businessman. He understands how he's going to find his next customer. How have your competitors changed their models to align with this new economy? And are you responding to a competitive threat, or are you leveraging your market-leading position? Now, here's a difficult question, and you need to be honest with yourself. Have you become complacent in your business? And if so, are you failing to see the changes that are occurring around you? If you are, don't be surprised when the disruptors in today's always-on economy figure out a newer, a better way to develop a product or to deliver a service to even your most loyal customers. The world is changing. I was standing on the street in St. Petersburg, Russia, in August of last year, and I needed to take a cab from, actually went to the opera, back to my hotel. How do you think I got there? I pulled out my phone, opened up my Uber app, hit the button, and the next thing I know, an SEL 500 black Mercedes pulls up, and it was $28 to get back across the city. The world has changed. Think about this for a moment. Uber, the world's largest taxi company, owns no cars. That's pretty incredible, right? Facebook, the world's largest repository of data and consumer information, owns no content. Alibaba, the world's largest retailer, owns no inventory. Airbnb, the world's largest booking agent of room nights, owns no hotels. So regardless of your market position, you have to think like a disruptor, not like a market leader. There's likely some young kid that's sitting in a garage or a basement right now, figuring out a more effective and a more efficient way of serving your customer, but more importantly, tomorrow's customer. So I tell my team all the time, don't wait for disruption. We need to self-disrupt. And while it isn't broken, we've got to break it. We're constantly breaking our platform, our program, looking at new and different ways of innovating. Because then on the backs of our reputation, we can accelerate innovation, being vertical change within our organization across our entire business. As we all know, communication and technology has enabled a global economy. This has changed business across every industry vertical, but it's certainly changed it in the residential real estate space. So here's a quick story. A decade ago, the residential real estate business here in the United States was, for all intents and purposes, a national market, right? The business was done here in the United States. Consumers, of course, were buying second homes and investment properties, cross-market, cross-county, cross-city, cross-state. But very little business was being done country to country, let alone continent to continent. Fast forward 5 years. We now, because of communication and technology, have a better ability to pursue new markets. We have visibility into new economies. We have understanding of communities. We're able to do visual due diligence of properties, surrounding areas, culture, restaurants, food, school systems. Last year in 2014, March ending 2014, the National Association of Realtors states that there was $93 billion worth of residential real estate that was sold here in the United States to investors from outside of the United States. That represented 6% of the U.S. existing home sale market. The top 5 countries that are buying here in the U.S. are in this order: China, Canada, Mexico, the UK, and India. with China representing a significant portion of this overall business. We happen to have over 800 offices in China. So we have a terrific market position with 2,600 offices in the Asia-Pac markets alone. But again, that's just here in the United States, $93 billion worth of real estate being sold to investors from outside of the United States. They're buying here for social reasons. They're buying here because they're savvy investors. They want to diversify their market risk. And they're buying here because their children are going to school. They want to have vacation homes here. And the reason that they're able to buy here and the reason that they're pursuing these markets is because there's visibility into the market. So again, just here in the US is the dollars I'm talking about. It doesn't scratch the surface in terms of how much real estate is being traded outside of the United States from country to country and continent to continent. Seeing this trend in 2012, Century 21 positioned itself in the path of this evolving marketplace. And in 2013, we launched a global website, century21global.com, that has home listing feeds from 30 primary global markets that we operate in. And the website includes 16 language translations and 36 currency conversions. It provides the global consumer the unique ability to be able to view property data in their own language and their own currency. Now, we carry typically 250,000 home sale listings on this site. And we are driving significant traffic and tens of thousands of consumer leads annually. We're miles ahead of our competition in this space because we thought like a disruptor. We didn't wait for someone else to do it and figure out if we could do it as good as they did. We stepped out in front and stayed in the path of this evolving market. Our job as leaders is to anticipate and understand change and how that change is going to affect or impact our business. We need to develop a strategy that's focused not just on today's market, but it's got to be focused on the trajectory of the marketplace. And in doing so, we need to position ourselves, our customers, our clients in the path of this evolving market. We have to continue to pursue innovative ways to build our business. We need to deliver resources that compel the attention and the commitment of our employees. And we need to develop a culture that is conducive to long-term gains in productivity. The bottom line is we have to differentiate. We have to be leaders that lead in what we say, in what we do, and how we present ourselves to the marketplace. So you're the community and business leaders that chose to be here. Leaders who expect more. Leaders who want to inspire those around them to do more and to do better. You're the architects and the engineers of your respective businesses and of your own future. You're the business community's best and brightest, and that's the way that you should view yourselves. As a chamber, this is an organization that comes together to make the business community better and in turn to change the economic position of Salem within the state. And I want to congratulate all of you for taking time out of your business to be here and for leaning in a little bit to understand that there might be a new way to do business. So congratulations to all of you. So Bill Gates said that as we look ahead to the next century, leaders will be those who empower others. Warren Bennis says that leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. I really connect with that definition. It's very simple, but boy, it seems awfully accurate to me. The hard part, of course, is finding the time, the motivation, and the energy to translate vision into reality. As we all know, life gets in the way. We all have customers. Sometimes aren't they a pain in the neck? But we've got to serve them, right? That's our business. It's our business to deal with all the tough issues to make sure that we help not only ourselves, but our customers to achieve whatever level of success they're looking for. As a result, we end up getting focused away from the critical aspects of what we should be doing, and we get pulled into the tactical aspects, not the strategic aspects of our business. We end up finding ourselves spending countless hours working in our business instead of working on our business. How many of you in the room have read the book, The E-Myth, or The Entrepreneurial Myth by Michael Gerber? Okay, I see a few hands. This is a fantastic book. I don't care if you're in a corporation or you own your own business or you're an independent contractor. This is a book that you should read. You can get it on iBooks. In fact, you can even buy a summary version for like $1.20, and you can read it in 30 minutes. The author explains in this book that there are 3 distinct personalities of a business owner. They are the entrepreneur, who's the visionary. They are the manager, who supplies order, systems, and control. They're the technician that supplies the output or the hands-on work. What Gerber reasons is that these are not separate people, but in fact they are distinct elements of an individual's behavior. His analysis shows that the typical business owner is 10% entrepreneur, 20% manager, and 70% technician. The essence of his message is that for any given business to truly grow and thrive, these 3 behavioral elements must be more equally balanced. Now, the phenomenon is that as the leader of the business, you don't even realize that it's happening, that you're getting pulled into the day-to-day tactics and fire drills, when you should, in fact, be doing what you do best, leading. Meaning that the business must have the systems in place that are robust enough for the business to be able to function and operate without your constant presence. In that environment, an executive then can spend more time working on their business instead of in their business. The technician, the manager, and the entrepreneur, when they work hand in hand, ensures that the successful business has the core components then to be able to grow revenue, to increase profit margins, and to deliver high quality, consistent service and value. I was an owner of my own company. I was a technician who got into the business. I'm a real estate guy. I'm not a corporate executive franchise guy or, came out of business school and ended up in this position. I'm a real estate guy that grew through the ranks. Started as a property manager fixing toilets and ended up in the job that I'm in today. I own my own company as part of that process, and I know exactly what Gerber is talking about when he talks about the need to be working on your business instead of in your business. I had a great company, but we weren't growing. I needed to start to focus on how I was going to grow this business and stop worrying about transacting real estate for myself. So I started giving all of my deals away to guys that worked inside of my shop, and I focused on building my enterprise. And in a short 2 years, I had quadrupled the number of agents that were associated with my business and had expanded various service lines from construction management to development. We were doing land deals, lots of capital market transactions. I was purely a commercial real estate guy. But we had expanded the business in different verticals, and we had expanded the depth and the breadth of the bench that we had. That's because I got out of being the technician and started being more of the visionary. So what percentage of your time is being spent on being the technician? Are you spending the time that you should fulfilling the roles of the entrepreneur and the manager? You need to ask yourself these fundamental questions. Am I building the systems and processes to allow my business to run without my constant attention? Could you walk away from your business tomorrow and take off to Tahiti for 2 weeks and be confident that your business is going to be there and flourishing when you return? What's your growth strategy? What's your exit strategy? Are you spending the time on what's important to get there? How do you remain relevant in the hearts and minds of the marketplace, in the hearts and minds of the customers, the consumer base, and your employees? The Vision Initiative team worked incredibly hard to deliver an event that provides you an opportunity to be inspired, to celebrate success, to think about your business in a new and compelling way, but most importantly, to network, to learn, and to share best practices. So as we break this afternoon and we're having cocktails and talking, and you're networking with your peers, I want you to talk about what's next. What's possible? What's possible with your business? What comes to mind when you think of the term wildly successful? Just think about it for a minute. Is it family, faith, friends, finances, health, mindset? Is there an end goal that you're looking to achieve? Have you planted a flag on the hill and said, this is where we're going and we are going to achieve it? And if so, then how do you get there? What's your plan? More importantly, do you know what your approach needs to be every morning when your feet hit the floor? We've got so much pressure on us as business owners, as executives, as managers, as community leaders. So how do we remain focused? How do we keep driving forward? How do we motivate ourselves and others around us? How do we keep winning? I firmly believe that if you want to win, you have to approach every day with an attitude of success. Thomas Jefferson summed this up rather remarkably. He said that nothing can stop the person with the right mental attitude from achieving their goal. And yet again, nothing on earth can help the person with the wrong mental attitude. You need to believe it, that your growth, your success, and your plan has to start with a great attitude. In fact, I believe that there's nothing more powerful than the attitude that we choose to have. Attitude is more important than the past. It's more important than the circumstances, the education, the money. It's more important than the opportunities, the failures, and successes. Attitude is more important than what other people think or say about you, and it's more important than appearance, giftedness, or skill. Here's the remarkable thing. Every one of us has a choice every day to determine the attitude that we're going to have for that day. We can't change our past. Can't change the way that people will act. We certainly can't change the inevitable. But we are in full charge of the attitude that we choose for today. You know, it's been said that life is 10% what happens to you, and it's 90% how you respond to it. So this is personal, but for me, I wake up every day and I thank God for the day that He's given me. I ask to be the best person that I can be for that day. And then I work really hard to be a reflection of what I know is right. Every day is an opportunity. In fact, every day is an adventure, as I like to call it. So when I get a chance, as you can imagine, I travel extensively. When I get a chance to talk to my wife in the morning or in the afternoon, my wife Tina, or if I see her in the evenings, she always asks me, "How's your adventure today?" It's an attitude. She doesn't ask me, "How's the grind?" because she knows I don't want to have that conversation. It's all about the adventure. So as I move through my day, I reflect on the decisions that I'm making to make a decision or a determination as to whether or not they're in line with who and what I want to be. And are they moving me towards my dream of ultimate success? Now, that said, I believe that the ultimate power that each of us in this room has is our ability to make decisions. We all know success does not just show up. You have to work at it. From what time we get out of bed to whether or not we take a moment to reflect and meditate. Do we hit the gym? Do we hug our spouse and our kids? How do we fuel our bodies? Have we set our plan? What commitment will we make? But more importantly, what commitments will we follow through on? Success, in fact, is found in the seemingly unimportant decisions that we make every single day. Collectively, however, those thousands of small decisions will be the difference between success and failure. And yes, of course, definitive long-term goals are integral in having a plan, but it's the actions that we choose each and every day that will determine whether or not we will execute at our full potential. I want to show you a video about a young man who woke up every day with a mindset and an attitude of success. He believed that he could make his goal a reality, and against all odds, he did just that. Take a look.
Dan Gable talks about the 3 periods in wrestling. The first period is won by the guy with the most technique. The second period is won by the guy with the most conditioning.
The third period is won by the wrestler with the most heart. I challenge you to find a wrestler with more heart than Willie Burton.
You can tell when somebody's a wrestler. They walk differently, they talk differently. They're like a little different on the inside.
Over the past 4 years, Willie has wrestled more than 100 matches. And more than 100 times, he lost.
I have a cerebral palsy.
Willie's mental capacity was unaffected, and he always tried to do more than his body would allow.
When I got to high school, I just wanted to wrestle just because I want to do a sport where it's me against the other guy and whoever wins, wins. I didn't want to give up. I didn't want to say, okay, just because I didn't win, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. I want to be known as a wrestler.
By his sophomore season, he was. Sophomore year, junior year, every match he lost. February 11th, 2014. The final period. The match is tied. Willie secures a cradle. Willie turns his opponent's shoulders on the mat and takes the lead. For the first time in over 100 matches, Willie's hand was raised in victory.
You could tell when somebody's a wrestler. They walk differently, they talk differently. Wrestling, that made me who I am right now.
So did you hear what Willie's coach said at the very beginning? The first period is won by the wrestler with the most technique. The second period is won by the wrestler with the best conditioning. But the third period is won by the wrestler with the most heart. Heart is believing in something. It's believing in yourself. It is a mindset. It is an attitude. Yes, skills and perseverance are critical to success. We all know that. But when you are literally taken to the mat, it is your passion and your belief that will be the difference between winning and losing. Willie saw a future for himself. And against all odds, he willed it to be his reality. So what's your reality? What do you think is possible? What comes to mind when you think of the word impossible? I want you to examine this word for just a moment, because what this word is really saying is I'm possible. I guarantee you'll never look at this word the same way again. There's no idea that's too big if you believe I am possible. Let's take a look at possibility.
Before April 1954, the universal belief, because it had been tried again and again and again and people had failed, the belief was that man was not physically capable of breaking the 4-minute barrier, that he could not run a mile in less than 4 minutes. That was the belief on the planet. It had never been done. Here's what happened. Roger Bannister came along and he broke the 4-minute barrier. Now here's what's significant about that. Since that time, over 20,000 people have done it, including high school kids. What changed? Here's what happened when they got on the track. They knew it had been done. And because they knew it had been done, there was a new belief about this goal that was unreachable. And those 20,000 people got in the race believing that it's possible, that they could do it. That if someone has done it, then you can do it. It's possible. If someone can make their dream become a reality, that you can make your dream become reality.
I still have a dream.
And so as you begin to look at where you want to go, embrace that. It's possible. I'm blessed and highly favored. I got some good stuff in me. And it's possible that I can bring my greatness out here in the universe. It's possible. I can write my own book. I can have my own business. I can take the trip and travel around the world. It's possible. I can bounce back from adversity and reinvent my life. It's possible. Regardless of where I am, the things can get better for me. It's possible.
So they said a 4-minute mile was impossible, that it couldn't be done, that the human body wasn't capable of a 4-minute mile. They cited things like wind resistance and the fact that the human heart simply could not pump enough blood to be able to sustain the speed, that the physiology of the human body simply would not allow it. But Roger Bannister didn't believe that. What he believed is, I am possible. He believed it, he visualized it, he worked incredibly hard, and he accomplished it. In fact, Roger Bannister ran 6/100ths of a second faster than possible. More importantly, and frankly, what I think is one of the most fascinating displays of the human psyche is that once Roger Bannister broke that 4-minute mile, thousands of other people followed. And in the last 50 years, the 4-minute mile record has been shattered by almost 17 full seconds. So I'll ask you the question again. What idea, what challenge, what strategy will you tell yourself tonight, tomorrow, is possible? The essence of this message is very simple, that you can do anything that you set your mind to do. Yes, of course, regardless of our respective industries that we're operating in, we all have challenges ahead. We face them every day. And as leaders in our job, we have to present to the market in a manner by which it will instill confidence in our customers, that we will establish and nurture a culture that is conducive to long-term gains in productivity and the highest quality of service and thinking within our organizations. We have to work incredibly hard to be certain that our business is well positioned within the market and that we remain in the path of this evolving marketplace. If not, we will find ourselves, our employees, and our customers asking us why we allowed the market to pass us by. That's not a place I want to be. We've got to wake up every day believing in what we want to achieve. And the minute that our feet hit the floor, we need to make the decision to approach this day with an attitude of success. I want to leave you with one final story. This is a story of belief and confidence, of decisions and mindset. It's a story of attitude. There was a businesswoman whose company was deeply in debt. Sales were down, morale was as low as it had been in years, and frankly, she could see no way out. She was sitting on a park bench in New York City, in Central Park. This elderly gentleman approached and said, "Young lady, I could see something's really bothering you. Could we talk for a moment?" Well, this business executive and this gentleman ended up talking for over 2 hours. When they finished, he said, "I think I can help you. Tell me your full name." He pulls out his checkbook. He writes a check. He folds it in half, and he slips it into her hand. And he said, "You meet me back here in exactly 1 year from right now, and you can pay me back at that time." Well, the man turned and disappeared as quickly as he had appeared. The business executive looks down. She unfolds this check. Her eyes popped out of her head. There was a check for $500,000, and it was signed by John D. Rockefeller. She realized right then that she could immediately erase her money woes, but instead, she decided to go back to her office and put this uncashed check in her safe. She thought just knowing that the check was there might provide her with a new mindset, a new attitude, and a way to help her to identify a way out of debt and a way to save her business. So with this renewed optimism and energy, she energized her team. She met with lenders and suppliers. She reestablished trust with her existing clients. She attracted new clients. Her team was making new sales. More importantly, they were having fun. She had negotiated more favorable terms, and in no time, her company was not only out of debt, it was profitable once again. 1 year to the day, she returned to that park bench. She sat down, the gentleman appeared, and just as she's ready to hand him back the check and share her story of success, she is just beaming. This nurse comes running up, and he grabs this elderly gentleman. He says, "My gosh, I'm so glad you caught him, and I hope he hasn't been bothering you." And the businesswoman looked up and said, "No, not at all. Why are you asking me that?" And he says, "Well, it's nothing really." He said, "It's just that he keeps on sneaking out of the retirement home, and on top of that, he's telling everybody he's John D. Rockefeller." At that moment, this business executive realized it wasn't the money, real or imagined, that had saved her company and turned it around. Rather, it was the newfound self-confidence that gave her the power to drive her organization forward, to achieve anything, frankly, that she went after. It was her mindset, it was her attitude that had changed. What we believe in our hearts is intensely powerful. And our ability to be able to make decisions is the ultimate power that we possess. So my question to you is, what will you decide today? What are you going to believe today? Because here's what I believe. I believe that each of you in this room can do whatever you choose to do. You can do the impossible. Many of you already have. Many of you have overcome insurmountable blocks in your path in order to get to where you are today. You can achieve the business and the life goals that you choose. I believe that if you choose to start every day with an attitude of success, what you will end up doing in business and in life are endless. Thank you for the opportunity to be here.